Every battle has a theme, and in this battle the theme is the power of chaos and the power of transcendency. This is Quelaag, one of the surviving daughters of chaos, and she has taken this form because of the effects of the flame of chaos. And while this image of a deformed woman is somewhat horrifying to us, remember we are not on Earth. This is an image of power and strength. This is why the Chaos Witch is here at the end of the world. She has survived from the dawn of time to this moment, through all the trials of the many ages of fire and dark. And here Quelaag does what she has always done. Do what is required to feed the flames, no matter her feelings of regret or guilt, because this is her duty and it must be done. And this is something to think about with Quelaag. We learn from the discussion of the thieves in the basement that these characters are torn apart by their guilt. This is the contradiction at the heart of the Daughters of Chaos. Their love and worship of the flames, while also knowing fully the terrible sins they must commit to feed it. The nature of the Daughters of Chaos can also be seen in the character creation screen, with the Thieves class. It is a class with a very strange distribution of starting attributes. The class has high dexterity, something common for a thief, but they also have high faith, intelligence, and spell attunement, attunement being a stat that allows the player to equip more spells. Those three stats are not usually associated with the stereotypical Thieves build. It's more of the build of a dexterous spellcaster. Those stats are a reflection of the Daughters of Chaos and their nature as wily thieves as well as masters of fire sorceries. And here we have once again the twin humanities, a mother with child. Soul of Quelaag, once daughter of the Witch of Isolith, but now a chaos demon. Special beings have a special soul, and Quelaag's soul contains all aspects of chaos. Use it to acquire a huge amount of souls or to create a unique weapon. Quelaag contains all aspects of chaos, and chaos is at the heart of the flame, whether it be the first flame or the chaos flame. And the aspects of the character of Quelaag the Chaos Witch represents both the dedication to the flame and the love of that flame, and the terrible sins associated with that devotion, both the beautiful and the horrifying nature of that relationship, the top of the watchtower and the bottom of the watchtower. And here we have the second Bell of Awakening. Notice its construction is poor compared to the other. And in the cutscene also notice the leaves on the side are missing. Notice here we are going into third-person view. This is something that happens occasionally as the story of Dark Souls is being told. And here we see for the very first time a giant. Notice it is the same size as the portcullis that we saw at Sen's fortress. These are much larger than us. And here we get a homeward bone. This seems mainly for gameplay purposes to help the flow of the game. It could be seen as a symbol of your hero's journey progressing. But I think what is most noteworthy here is that it is not dropped by Quelaag herself. She is not undead or associated with the bosses that drop the other homeward bones. Most interestingly, the Taurus and the Capra demon. Quelaag is part of a different set of symbols than the other demons. And now hidden away behind this illusionary wall is Aingi, the egg bearer.
Oh dear, what have we here? Are you a new servant? But you have no eggs. Ah, no matter. Go along and have audience with our fair lady. I pray that you will mind your manners.
And just quickly on Aingi's dialogue, you can become an egg bearer before you talk to him, And if you do, he will not say that you don't have any eggs, but he'll say "bah, no matter" in his dialogue. This is one of the minor editing things that I talked about in the Depths episode. This one is very small and I just kind of ignore it, but it's something I wanted to point out because some of these elements are part of the game and they may have bigger implications if you dive deeper into them. Just like the homeward bone being given to us just now. But I try to keep things simple and just let other things go. This is not to dismiss these elements. That's why I'm bringing them up, as they may indeed have a deeper meaning that I've just simply missed, and someone else may find that detail very important and meaningful. So this will come up just a few times in the future. Anyway, Aingi is an egg bearer for the fair lady, and like all the egg bearers, he is crushed by the weight he carries. He's not a perfect image of the valiant father, but he is willing, and so the fair lady has chosen him at the end of the world. And here we have the fair lady, another of the 8 daughters of chaos, and just like her sister, she has been affected by the flame of chaos, giving her the strength to carry the burden of the kindly mother to all of these eggs. And she has another duty as well. She is a firekeeper, and we know this because the bonfire was lit when we arrived in this area. It gives 10 Estus flasks. And now to return to the idea I introduced way back at the beginning of the tour, the fact that the story of Velka, goddess of sin, can be seen in the cycle of the firekeepers. And here we have the first in that series, Velka, a half-dragon, half-giant, born dead with a horrific appearance that no one else can see past, to the beautiful woman hidden within. These are the 2 faces of Velka, the one she was born with, as well as her appearance when she reversed her hollowing, when she made herself beautiful using the humanity of the people of Astora. The eggs around the fair lady here are all the children she mothered and ultimately abandoned in Astora, fathered by men who were willing but she found wanting and weak. The true valiant father of Astora, caught up in a dream, still obsessed with her mother, Priscilla, the Queen of Lordran. And when we speak to the fair lady here, we get an ellipse and a question mark. We can see the mouth of the fair lady moving, but we cannot understand a word she is saying. This is the story of Velka as a child and young woman. She is a creature of overwhelming intelligence. She is the source of all knowledge in Lordran, and this makes her indecipherable to the others in the realm. This is an important difference between the fair lady and the other firekeeper at Firelink Shrine. That firekeeper cannot speak as she has had her tongue cut out. This firekeeper no one can understand. The firekeeper above can be understood, but her words are forbidden. And now that we have the image of the fair lady, we can put a bunch of symbols together. She does not speak and she hides her face in shame, just as the thieves' mask talks about in the basement. Found with the black leather armor, with the symbols of the doves and the boars, the symbols of the chaos flame. And remember Nico, Ria's school friend. He hid his face and spoke in an indecipherable tongue, a symbol of Velka.
Are you prepared to dedicate yourself to our fair lady? Then I will make available whatever you require. If you need something, ask me first.
We're starting to see the personality of Aingi here. Also note, he is a pyromancer, just like Laurentius, but in comparison, Laurentius, a symbol of menace, is not an egg bearer. And notice, Aingi will sell us only the servant roster at this point.
There is no time for idle chat. Think only of our fair lady and what she may need.
We are seeing the sycophantic nature of Aingi. His life is dedicated only to the service of the fair lady, and Aingi is a symbol of Velka's cult in Astora, the one that replaced the cult of the undead. The sinners who were not noble enough to be the great knights and head above in pilgrimage. They remained in Astora and became the dark wraiths that worshipped Velka. This is one of the things Gwyn feared when he was shaken by the dark, when he looked down from Enalondo and saw Velka with her fanatics. The humans that remained there, burdened with humanity, pinned and stuck to the ground, unable to move on. Humanity, the thing that keeps them attached to their world and makes it impossible for them to look past their home and their goddess. The dark race of Astora did not need Gwyn or his way. They had everything that mattered to them. Why strive for something bigger when you already have everything you ever wanted? And if people happen to look at you, crushed and pinned to the ground with pity and disdain, well, that is because they themselves are lost, naive children, and they are the ones to be pitied. Where others see maggots that feast upon your flesh, you see meaning, purpose, love, and a simple home where you belong. And now back to Velka and her indecipherable nature when she was young. There is one other character who understood her at that point, the other outsider with overwhelming intelligence, Menace. And this meeting of minds caused the two of them to become friends in Enolondo, a city where neither of them belonged, a city of light, order, and most antithetical to them, constancy. And this friendship is the kindness Menace showed Velka, and this was where in return she becomes obsessed with Menace. Gwyn will do anything for his age of light. Nito would do anything for his home in the catacombs. Menace would do anything to have Priscilla, and the Daughters of Chaos will do anything for their flame. Velka will do anything to possess Menace for herself, because without him there would be nothing to the world but an endless night. And to quote Vince of Thoroland, Verionox, fear the night. And while we head back, I feel like I should clarify something quickly, and that is my liberal use of the term chaos. As we enter the new era of the Chaos Flame and the Daughters of Chaos, I probably need to clarify what I mean when I say chaos, because one flame is explicitly called the Chaos Flame, yet I've declared chaos is at the heart of every flame. What I really mean by saying chaos is that at the heart of every flame is the disparity, and the churn that comes from that disparity is at the heart of every flame, and that churn is chaotic in its nature. That is why I personally refer to the Chaos Flame as the Children's Flame and the First Flame as the Divine Flame. The names of the flames we find in the game are given to them by the inhabitants of Lordran looking back over history. But in each period, the flames would have been referred to as just the flame, much like World War I was referred to as the Great War or the War to End All Wars, until World War II happened. The Chaos Flame is called the Chaos Flame because it was extreme and unbalanced in its internal nature, unlike the others, and the resulting disparity and churn that it would produce was also very extreme. And now let's return to Blighttown as we seek out another of the Daughters of Chaos, Quelana. But before we meet her, let's discuss this variant of the half-giants here. Notice this creature has a large boulder, like a child playing with a beach ball at a polluted lake. Bats and bowls, the toys of children. Keen-eyed observers will notice a change in the remastered edition here. The eyes of the half-giants have been changed to red. In the Prepare to Die edition, they are white. This is mostly a positive gain for the series, with one minor setback, which I'll cover first because it's small. The white eyes connected the half-giants to the Ring of the Evil Eye, as their eyes look like the design of the ring, connecting them to the symbols of the primordial serpents and to Astora. But with the addition to the gargoyle scream in the Battle Above the Undead Church, replacing these eyes doesn't cost much and makes things clearer in my opinion. On the plus side, there are a few. Firstly, these eyes are now red, like the other humanoids connected to the major flames. There is a white flame as well, and this is seen in the eyes of the skeletons in the catacombs. By making the eyes of the half-giant red, it takes away any confusion which that might have caused by connecting the giants to that flame. The eyes of Framp and Karth are red, so it moves them closer to those characters, which is a plus, and it connects them to the primordial serpents of Dark Souls 3, who have glowing red eyes, so it neatens up the symbols for the whole series, which is sweet. Notice also the giants vanish with a little fountain effect left behind. This is because they are made of the goopy substance that is the dark, just like the primordial serpents. Also, I think the mosquitoes fly lower in this edition and are easier to hit than they used to be. I don't know if that's the case, maybe I've just gotten better at Dark Souls over the years. Another important thing to note about this variant of the half-giant is that they will drop a pickaxe randomly. This is because the half-giants used to be the miners of the East. All the copper, tin and iron had to come from somewhere, and it was mined here in the East. We have seen another pickaxe during the tour, and that was used by Vamoose to make the hole in his tomb. Vamoose is also a half-giant from this area of Lordran. And now 5 minutes has passed since we were attacked by the egg bearer in the demon ruins. The eggs that were implanted in us during that attack have now hatched, and those eggs were planted by a hook creature that came out of the egg bearer's back. And that distinction is important. The egg bearer did not give me this infection. He held me in place as another creature sprung from the flower on his back. The kindly mother. The egg bearer is 3 creatures fused into one. And now we have one of my favorite weapons in the game, the Great Club. The Great Club. Giant tree branch serves as a wooden club, smashes enemies from upside the head. The leaping attack is a trademark of clubs, and the giant club is no exception. This club is here as a reinforcement of the idea that the giants are made from the stone wood of the arch trees, and that's why it sits next to the half-giants. And in the distance now you can see her, as though by magic, a daughter of chaos has appeared, Quelana. Notice she is a small humanoid figure unlike her sisters. She was not affected by the flame of chaos. And now looking at Quelana, we can see the visual similarities between her and the wily thieves we saw in the basement. She hides her face in shame. And as we talk to Quelana, always keep that in mind. She is a wily thief.
A mere undead, yet you can see me. Fascinating. I am Quelana of Izalith. I am not often revealed to walkers of flesh. You have a gift. Are you too one who seeks my pyromancy, like Solomon? Yes, of course. It should be expected. Very well. You shall be my pupil, but to pursue my pyromancy, you must give something up. Are you prepared to do this?
Quelana calls us a walker of flesh, and this is because we exist in a different world to her. She has ascended, she has transcended, while we have not.
No luck, Well, young pupil, you must have patience, but do not keep me waiting much longer.
And so we're starting to see the beginning of Quelana's ruse. She's not willing to help us until we give her souls, until we spend souls with her, and then she'll be willing to tell us more about the world. Quelana allows us to purchase more powerful spells than those provided by Laurentius of the Great Swamp. Look at the description of the Great Fireball. The first line, Ultimate Fireball Pyromancy. The second line, Hurl Giant Fireball. And the last line, those who acquire this spell usually agree. This is a sales pitch, a television commercial for the power of Quelana's pyromancies. A product you may or may not actually need, but Quelana is trying to tempt you into a purchase. This is very different from Laurentius, who seems quite earnest about his desire to spread the flame and to help you on your journey. Though as discussed, Laurentius is not quite what he seems. Laurentius and Quelana are 2 versions of the same con. Laurentius is someone who seems to have your best interest at heart, while Quelana is more forward, tempting you with promises of great power. And now one of the more wacky but important spells of the game, Undead Rapport. Advanced Pyromancy of Quelana of Izalith. Charm undead and gain temporary allies. The living are lured by flame, and this relationship is part and parcel to the art of pyromancy, can be used by either gender. This is the complete story of all the daughters of chaos.
Now go. Whatever you do, do not crack and go hollow, lest my time spent on you be wasted. Ah, I applaud your diligence. But what have you brought for me? Long ago, I accepted another pupil like yourself. Over 200 years ago, there was a man almost as bungling as you. In your world, he was called Salaman, the master pyromancer. The little rascal really made something of himself.
Here we find out Quelana is the one who took the secret art of pyromancy and gave it to Salaman, who then taught others.
Pyromancy is the art of invoking and manipulating fire. But remember one thing. Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself. I would hate to see that happen again.
And here we see Quelana's guilt, which I do believe is genuine, but it does not stop her from doing what must be done.
No luck. Well, young pupil, you must have patience, but do not keep me...
And quickly over here, behind Quelana, we find the large Titanite shard. We found an item just like this in the depths, in the family portrait, representing Manus. And one more thing to note about Quelana. She can ascend the pyromancy flame to a whole new level once it is powerful enough. This is something only she can do. None of the other pyromancers have this skill. And now let's talk about the eggs on our head. The gameplay ramifications of these eggs is we harvest 50% less souls each time we slay an enemy. Those missing souls go into the eggs, and once they acquire enough life force, they will grow and change into an egg pod, like the ones we saw atop the egg bearers. And our kick animation will be replaced by a large hook attack that we saw when we acquired this infection. We are now an egg bearer, but notice something different about us. We are not squashed or pinned to the ground. This is a burden we can easily carry, physically speaking. The question for us is the taxing effects of the eggs an issue? Do we want to give half of our souls to these parasites? Are we willing to hunt and slaughter twice as many living creatures to support these eggs? Are we ready for the joy of family? These are the questions we can ponder as we head back to the Fair Lady and enter the final section for today.
Dedication is fully apparent. Only, well, your head looks awful. Why not try this? I've no use for it any longer.
Egg vermifuge is a fancy way of saying parasite killer. And what we are seeing here is very important. We finally have eggs just like Aingi here, and when he sees that, he immediately insults us and gives us away to kill the children of our new family. Man-Eater Mildred helping in the battle with Quelaag is a metaphor for the jealousy of women, and here we're seeing another metaphor for the jealousy of men, and this jealousy is connected to the theme of avarice and greed. Aingi, like Mildred, does not want the competition, and this at first seems petty and somewhat comical, but ultimately harmless enough, until we look a little bit closer. Bitter sour chestnut removes parasitic egg from body. The egg bearers have chosen to serve the flame of chaos, and the egg symbolizes selfless choice. Naturally, these chestnuts are forbidden, but allowed under certain circumstances. The egg bearers are meant to serve the flame of chaos, but their jealous love of their own family causes them to attack others who would be a benefit to their cause. And this disregard for others can be seen in the pyromancies that Aingi will now sell us. Aingi was given the power of pyromancy in the Great Swamp, just like Carmina, and he used it to choke those around him. He is a character who is only interested in himself and his own happiness. Jumping away from Igi now, notice the spells he developed are spells that are concerned with the dark. This was something that had him branded as a heretic, and these developments were quite heretical in the age of Solomon. But it was possible, and that is because the flame is about the light and the dark. The flame that gave the pyromancers their power had both aspects of that duality. It had to have both sides of that, because that is the nature of the flame, the balance between the light and the dark. And now to the fair lady to end this episode. We talked about the reforms of Gwyn to contain the dark in Astora, where knights would gather humanity from the world and give it up in the undead church. And this tradition is alive and well in the current era of Lordran. We will abandon our pledge of service to the Grave Lord Nito and instead embrace the love of the Daughters of Chaos. And now we see a single knight is able to offer the humanity they harvested from others to this daughter, just as they did many epochs ago. Though now this humanity goes into these eggs rather than into the first flame to keep it lit. Remember, humanity is a living thing, the remains of a defeated enemy that you have placed within your bosom. And as such, it can be moved from us and into these egg sacs, possibly to be reborn. That is everything for today's episode. We've jumped around a bit, but you may be realizing that the characters of Lordran have quite tangled storylines. But hopefully what you have seen today is that the Daughters of Chaos are central to the conflict that occurs in Lordran, as this is a realm obsessed with the flame and its power. And in that world, the Daughters of Chaos are the only ones who serve the flame dutifully, selflessly, and without hesitation. They are its guardians. The costs of the flames are high in all the ages of Lordran, and this does cause the daughters great guilt. But that is a burden they have to shoulder, and unlike a lot of the characters in Dark Souls, they carry that burden to the very end without complaint. And pulling back from dissecting of symbols and parsing of dialogue, that is the most important thing about the Daughters of Chaos. They are the martyrs who did not peter out when things got hard. They looked for better ways and made mistakes when doing so, but it was never at the cost of their duty. Their duty was always at the center of their existence. There were 4 flames and the Daughters of Chaos at the center. So I am wary of the Daughters of Chaos as their loyalty is only to the flame. But at the same time, I have a great respect for their ability to do the hardest job in Lordran, feed the flame. A messy task that neither Gwyn or anyone else was willing to do, and they did that task from the dawn of time right to the very end. In the next episode, we will be returning to the Undead Asylum, where we will see if we can make any sense of the coded hallways that we left behind there. Hope to see you all then. Bye.